Hi everyone! We're going to be thinking today about being wise. Now I don't know if you know some wise people, but Jesus told a story about someone who was wise. So we're going to watch the video. The story comes from Matthew chapter 7 verses 24 to 27 if you want to look it up and read it. So we're going to watch the video and see what you think Jesus was telling people how to be wise. So, what did you think about the story? Did you notice at the beginning that the two men had some instructions that they could follow that were written on the tree? And sometimes we need instructions or advice from people in order to be wise about our decisions and our actions. And there's lots of people who can help us. Our parents, they have a lot of experience and they can help us. Our teachers at school or Sunday school. And Jesus said at the beginning of the story, if you listen to me and follow what I'm telling you to do, then you will be wise like the man who built his house on the rock so that it didn't fall down. So words that people tell us can be really strong things to build our lives on. We need to listen to advice from people in order to become wise, and especially advice from Jesus. And there's lots in the Bible that Jesus tries to teach us how to live our lives wisely and well. Now there's a short video we're going to listen to, which is a little boy who perhaps he's not too keen on following what his parents says, but he begins to think of what would happen if he didn't do what they say. So let's watch the video and see what you think.
Move it over here. Okay. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, stop. What? Beep, beep, beep. Hey, you almost hit me. Sorry. Release the marbles!
What a mess! Caleb, it is time for family worship. Get your book. And pick up all these marbles. Someone could get hurt.
Always listen to Mom and Daddy.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you for obeying. Now, let's hurry up. Your sister and dad are waiting for us.
Sophia, what do you see in this picture? Oh, good. Now everybody's here. Let's say a prayer to begin family worship.
So, what did you think about the little boy? Wasn't it interesting how he thought what could happen if he didn't follow the advice? And it's good to remember that people that are trying to help us, our parents, our teachers, and above all Jesus, are doing it because they love us and they want us to have a good life. So let's remember those words that Jesus said, if you listen to what I'm saying and do and follow me, then you will be wise.
Yes.
There is an animal that we always say is wise. I wonder if you've heard that before. I expect you have, because he's mentioned in many storybooks about the wise owl. I don't know why. It may be because he comes out at night, he can see in the dark, and he seems to always keep very still, and he looks as if he's studying and thinking all the time. So we can make an owl ourselves to have, and I've got some already made, and I'm going to show you how you can make them. You start with a toilet roll, and if you haven't got a toilet roll at home that's empty, you can use the inside of a kitchen towel, and then you just cut it in half. So you take your toilet roll and you decide how you're going to cover it. You might decide to paint it, and you can paint it any colour you like. You might decide to cover it with some wrapping paper. I use this wrapping paper to cover this one. Just wrap it round and glue it, as you can see I have at the back. Or you might try a bit of a brighter coloured one. I use this wrapping paper to cover this one. If you use the wrapping paper, it's a good idea to use the same paper to cut out your feathers. So, let's start with this one. This one has been painted, and now I have to finish it off by sticking some more feathers on. Now you make the feathers by cutting out an oval shape. So draw an oval, cut it out, and then use it to draw around all your feathers so they're the same size. So put it on your wrapping paper or your card, draw around it, and then you can cut them out. Now you can cut out as many as you like. I've done a row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've done 3 rows of 6. So I've got my 2 rows. Now we need to finish it by a 3rd row. So take your glue, you don't need a very strong glue, and the secret for the feathers is that you just glue the top so that they don't stick right down, they stick up a bit, can you see? And then you start the next row and you stick it on. 1, 2, 3, make sure they're stuck down, 4, 5, and the last one I'm going to do, what colour have I got? I could do a green one, couldn't I? 6. So we've got our 6 feathers on. Make sure they're stuck. That's it. Good. Now, before we do the eyes and the nose, there's something you do at the top, which is important to do first, and then you'll see how much room you've got for your eyes and your nose. So keep the feathers facing you, and then you squeeze to pull it in. Squeeze it, and as you squeeze it, this one I'm going to squeeze it down. See, I'm doing it wrong. Can you see how it goes down? You have to squeeze it down to meet in the middle. Squeeze the front down and the back down. Can you see? Squeeze it down to meet, and then you've got your ears and it should stay down. Like that. Can you see? So it makes the head shape. Flatten it down and squeeze it up for the ears. And there we have it. Now you know how much room you've got for your eyes and your nose. Now if you haven't got wiggly eyes like this one has got, then you can just make your own eyes. Cut 2 white circles and do a nice eye in the middle. 1, 2, and then just stick them on. This time you need to stick all of it, not just a part of it, so that it sticks on. That way round, I think. And owls have got lovely big eyes. So you need some lovely big eyes for your owls. Stick them on. There, lovely big eyes. And then he needs a nose. So let's give him a nice big nose. Stick it all on. A nice big nose. Or a beak really, isn't it? If it's an owl, it's not a nose, it's a beak. So stick his beak on. And then he needs like long feathers for his arms. So just cut out some long shapes, look. And then like the feathers, just stick the top. And stick it on one side. And on the other side. Make it little at the top and a bit fatter at the bottom. I'll just stick it on and then I'll turn it round to show you. And there we have our owl. And what you can do, because it's open at the bottom, you can put your fingers in, one hand and 3 fingers in the other, and you can make them like puppets and have little stories that they tell each other. So that's your owl, to remember how important it is to be wise and follow the advice of many people, but most of all that Jesus told us in the Bible to teach us about being wise. So now we're going to listen to a song all about the wise and foolish builders.
The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock, and the rains came a-tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up, and the house on the rock stood firm. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand, and the rains came a-tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up, and the house on the sand went splat. So build your house on the Lord Jesus Christ. So build your house on the Lord Jesus Christ. So build your house on the Lord Jesus Christ, and the blessings will come down. The blessings come down as your prayers go up. The blessings come down as your prayers go up. The blessings come down as your prayers go up. So build your life on the Lord. On the Lord. Hey, don't be a foolish man. Build your life on the Lord.
So, do you remember our wise owl? There's some fun things you can do with food that actually makes the shape of an owl. And I've got one here that I've made that I'll show you how to make in a minute. And it's important to remember when you're using food like this for fun that you use things that you like to eat, so it's not going to be wasted. You're going to make sure you eat it. There's many things you can use. Here I've used, and I've forgotten the biscuit, a rice cake to make a circle, but you can use bread or anything that you've got that might be useful. So what I started with was something to spread on there. Now I used peanut butter because that's what I've got in the cupboard, but you might like to use chocolate spread or jam or marmalade, something that you can stick things onto that make sure that it is sticky and things can be stuck onto it. So spread something on your base, whatever your base is to start with. And then I thought about the eyes, and I had bananas. So I thought I would cut 2 pieces of banana, and I don't want the sharp piece at the top, I want flat pieces for my eyes. So 2 pieces of banana go on top for the eyes, but you need something dark in the middle, don't you? So I had some frozen fruit, and I could take 2 berries out and put them in, but you might have things like currants, sultanas, pieces of chocolate, any sort of thing that is dark that could go for the eyes. Then what about the wings? Well, I've got some apples, so I thought I could cut the apple cut it into two, get rid of the core in the middle, and then cut a slice which is a nice curved shape so that it makes the wings on the side. Cut one, cut two, and you've got the wings on the side. But you might use banana for that if you haven't got an apple, or any other sort of fruit. Maybe you've got mango or anything like that that you can cut into that shape. Now for the middle, for the feathers, the only thing I had was some cornflakes. You need something small that will fit on. So I started to put some cornflakes on because they stick up a little bit as well and start to look a bit like feathers. So I stuck the cornflakes on because with the peanut butter it sticks on. And then all I need now is the nose. Now for me it had to be another piece of apple. So you want to cut it into a triangle shape. So I've cut, can you see my triangle? And I'm putting it on. No, beak, it should be called the beak. I'm sorry, it's the beak. So there we have our owl shape. Now for some other ideas, I've got some pictures here. You could use strawberries, can you see? This one is similar, but if you can see they've used Cheerios, a different sort of cereal. And I've seen some with Smarties on, which would be even nicer, wouldn't it? And this one, if you haven't got a round biscuit, you can use a slice of bread. And they've put the apple on in a different way for the wings, and they've even put little feet on. And that looks like chocolate spread, doesn't it, that they've put on to stick it all on. But just use what you've got in your cupboard at home and something that you like to eat so that you don't waste it and eat it. Because that's another thing about being wise, isn't it? It's making sure we're careful with what God has given us. Jesus reminds us of that as well. So, it's been lovely to share this time with you. And I pray that God will help you to grow and to develop into wise human beings, loving Him, loving yourself and loving each other as Jesus commanded us. So thank you everyone. Bye.